Welcome to another episode of Upward Spiral Mind with Greg Riley. It's great to have you on board. And this is the fastest growing yoga and higher consciousness channel on YouTube because I literally can double in subscribers every day. When you go from 2 to 4 and from 4 to 8, you are the fastest growing by ratio yoga and higher consciousness channel on YouTube. Hey, maybe you want to know a little bit about me, your beloved new yoga teacher and friend. I started yoga later in life and right about the age of 43, and I had been very un-yoga-like for a long time prior to beginning my yoga practice. I was a very strong athlete in my younger days. I was actually a world champion athlete. I was the world champion Frisbee freestyle player, the only sport where dogs make more money than human beings do. I did that throughout my 20s, and then through my 30s and into my 40s, I was a very miserable and unhappy person doing a job that I hated and involved in addictive and destructive behavior that finally culminated in me hitting my bottom around the age of 42. And then life took a miraculous turnaround for which I'm eternally grateful, thanks to a higher power. And I decided to do the thing that I loved most, which is teach yoga. At this phase, this was a crazy decision because I really wasn't in very good shape, and teaching yoga seemed like the most illogical thing to do. But as they say, you should follow your heart. And for the last approximately 20 years, I've been teaching yoga, not because I'm a wildly, amazingly flexible human being who can do incredible physical feats, just because I'm a person who seeks higher conscious contact and realizes that so many people just need to do a little bit of yoga and need a teacher who can deliver movements for the vast swath of humanity who find it very difficult to put their feet behind their head or to do cartwheels and backflips. So that's a little about me. Today's session will be approximately 15 to 20 minutes, and you can always zoom into particular parts of the practice that you like the best based on how much time that you have. Today will be some joint juice, that wonderful movement of our joints that helps unlock congested energy and expose to us some new vitality and movement. So off we go. And as always, we'll typically start off with a chant of Om, remembering that it's in your own best interest to chant louder than me so you don't have to listen to the croaking of the frog. Big inhale. Feel that move in and through you. Enjoy a moment of quiet. Every class that I teach is an opportunity for respite, for sanctuary. Open your eyes. By the way, embedded within and overarching and underlying and interpenetrating each and every class that I teach is a stream of consciousness designed to deliver an experience. What I do is not deliver a rational, logical, linear experience. What I do is blow your mind. What I do is hopefully encourage you to lose your marbles, to lose your mind, to get out of our left brain and move over to our right brain, the part of our brain that's intuitive, that's holistic, that's visceral, that's present moment, that is cohesive and coherent with the totality of things. Because over on the right side of our brain is a joy and experience immeasurably delightful. Shoulders, 1, 2. Do you remember what joint juice is? It's the movement of going through each and every joint system of our body and just making it move, making it groove. Other way. Move your scapula around, or as I like to call them, spatula, on your back. 6, 7, 8. Good job. Inhale up. And these are our new movements that we like that are called poofs, because we go up our back, touch our knuckles behind our neck, and at the top you go poof. Now on this one, we're going to do the color of our chakras, because as a yoga instructor, I know them. So we go red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and the 1,000 color lotus at the top. Let's try it again. Do you know your colors? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, poof. Now this of course means you're the same color as a rainbow. Isn't that good news? You are the prism that divides white light into its spectrum of colors. Isn't that good news? Next time you're feeling not so good about yourself, just remember that Greg told you that you are a rainbow. Great. All right. Now a little bit of fun broke out in our class. We're going to get on our back. You're going to put your left ankle over your right. Grab your toes. And you're just going to roll side to side like an intoxicated turtle that's fallen onto his or her back. Now remember, if you can't lay on your back and grab your ankles, you could grab your knees. And if you can't do that, I may not be your teacher, because not every teacher is for everybody, but I am for most bodies. Good. Now lift up your head, look over the top of your ankles if you can, like a groundhog on Groundhog's Day. Switch the cross, grab your tippies, roll side to side. Even if you can scarcely wobble side to side, then you qualify. Good, yogis. Now lift up your head, widen your knees. This is an odd pose. If your feet are way too far away, boy, have you found the right class. Put your elbows inside your knees, grab your big toes. If you can't do this, just grab here and just kind of roll side to side. Otherwise, with your big toes grabbed, just rock kneecap to kneecap. This is called Humpty Dumpty. It's called Happy Baby. Just roll it out side to side. These are good movements because they involve some rhythm and some balance, some general side to side. Good, you guys. Lift up your head. Stretch your knees down to the floor. You probably can't do that, but this is the class for people who can't do everything. Good, now just roll up. And I'll back up a little bit. Good job. All right. Now we continue with a nice sequence of movements. Drop your chin. Take your coconut around in a circle. Almost all my classes begin with joint juice, this movement through the joints, getting the congestion out of the primary joint systems of the body. Other way with your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Relax your head down. Drop your chin, close your eyes, stop thinking. If you start thinking, just stop thinking. It's the key. 98 to 99% of our thinking is utterly unnecessary, mostly random, highly disconnected, and not necessarily good for us. Good job, and bring your face back. Ready to chant Om again. And again, this oming that we're doing, we're practicing pushing the breath all the way out, extending the duration of the exhalation. There's a reason for this that's incredibly important, and we shan't go into it today because the explanation takes too long, but trust your new teacher, Greg, at Upward Spiral Mind Yoga, because there's a method to this madness. Big inhale. Big inhale if you haven't already. Exhale, release it out, eyes closed, shoulders relaxed, emptying the mind. Sometimes we might be afraid that by emptying our mind or discontinuing thought, we will diminish who we are. Nothing could be further from the truth. In many cases, thinking actually squeezes or narrows our perception of who we really are. So I recommend giving up thought on occasion, giving up who we think we are, so we can remember who we really are. Good job. Now, these all-important wrists, take your hands, lay them in front, lean into them. Again, it's unlikely that the heels of your hands will come all the way down. Drop your chin, relax the back of your neck. Now try this brand of breathing. This might be as complex a brand of breath as we do for a while. It's called Ujjai Breathing, Sanskrit for victorious breath. What does that mean? It means you make a little whispery, aspirate seashell sound at the back of your throat. You still inhale and exhale through your nose, but by creating a little friction at the back of your throat, you make a whispery seashell sound on the inside. Try it. You have nothing to lose but the chains of ego and self-focus. Good, now come up out of that. Now, right arm out, internal, external. These movements are so accessible. My key as a teacher is delivering movements to people in an accessible fashion. And as we grow together over the days, weeks, months, and years, and various incarnations together, the moves will grow in complexity, but they'll always be simple in nature. Good, now all the internal rotation you can with your right arm. Bring your right arm behind your back, bring your right hand up, and if you can, push the right wrist into your armpit. This is called half chicken wing pose. Take your elbow around. Other way. The key is not to do like 3 hours of yoga in one session per week. The key is to grow incrementally, to get the educational variety of yoga, just a few minutes a day and let it build up. Now from here, can you grab your right elbow with your left hand? If you can't, don't worry about it. And gently stretch, pull actually the elbow into your side. Be on the lookout for too much sensation or too little sensation. Don't overdo it, but don't underdo it either. Good, now undo, left arm out, internal rotation, external, internal, external. Now this might be a brand of yoga that you've never seen before. You may ask yourself, is this really yoga? Yeah, it's a brand of yoga. There's another name besides joint juice. It's called Viyayama, and it means literally to break up the congestion, the stiffness in the body. Now next time you do internal rotation, take the left arm behind your back. If it gets stuck there, that's fine. Bring the wrist up into the armpit if possible, and just circle this around. Other way. This is one Wiggin Rotations, otherwise known as poultry in motion, half chicken wing. Good. Now if you can grab your left elbow with your right hand, do that. And if you can't, boy, are you in the right place. Drop your chin, find a little gaze point on your carpet, maybe a little spot that you failed to clean. And feel this. This is Palmar Reflection of our wrist. If you're an anatomist, just tuning in. Good, now undo that. Get it out of there. Lace your hands. 1, 2. This could be the best thing that you ever learned, especially if you work at a keyboard a lot. Maybe you suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome. I did for a long time. I was stuck in that job that I hated, working mostly on a computer in a cubicle, spending all day filled with resentments and bitterness against how my life had gone wrong. Boy, did I have a lot to learn. Still do. Shake your hands. We do this every day. I also call this get thee hence, Satan, or shaking out the devil within you, depending on your religious disposition. Good, then excited teenagers talking, and then hummingbird. Cup your hands at your heart, drop your chin, close your eyes. Do you realize we're already halfway through today's session? Isn't it delightful to know that you found a teacher who delivers yoga in a highly accessible segment designed just for you and all of your friends? Please share my channel with your friends, and together we'll sweep the world with this revolutionary brand of yoga that is for everybody. Good job, kids. Now from here, stretch your legs out because we've been sitting for a long time. Get a blanket. Everybody's got a blanket. You don't have to buy a $75 yoga blanket. Sit on top of it. If sitting like this is difficult, try bending your knees a little bit, which cleverly allows you to sit more forward. When you bend your knees, your hamstrings soften and you're able to tilt more forward over the front of your hips. Lace your hands. Put your knuckles on top of your head, knuckleheads, and this might be enough. The bending of your knees may allow you to lean more forward and get your spine taller. Extend your legs if you can. Stretch your toes open. And last, but certainly not least, because everything I teach is mild, medium, and circus performer, extend your arms up if you can. You may not be able to straighten your knees or your elbows. Your arms are the legs of your upper body, and the knees are the elbows of your lower body. And stretch up. And then 2 things to do with your shoulders. You could pull them up and do beaver face, or relax your shoulders and have a calm and peaceful countenance. Sufficient. Now, since most humans that I teach are not expert backbenders, most of you probably aren't 14-year-old Romanian gymnasts, backbends are exceedingly challenging. Fortunately, you found your teacher who can teach you how to backbend in ways that you never thought were so accessible. Pull your hands back, plant your feet. Now, if we lift our hips at all, technically speaking, it is spinal extension, AKA a backbend. Here we go, bottoms up. If you're a stiffy person, if you're a boiled owl, you lift your hips to here and you got a lot of room to grow as a backbender. Now me, you know me, I'm just a middle of the road, very average range of motion, but I know how to teach. Lift up your hips as high as you can. Relax your head back as you will. Now another way you can moderate in my class is not only how far you go, but by duration, how long you do something. So if you're fatigued and you can't do it this long, come on down, because who loves you, baby? Now, bring your feet in, and when you come to a Greg class, occasionally a reflexology class will break out, meaning that I'm familiar with the different energy and pressure points on the body. Long-time career as not only a yoga teacher and a yoga student, but also a body worker, reflexologist, Ayurveda, and so one of the primary pressure points, there's thousands of them, but a significant one is middle, center, bottom of your foot. So take your opposable thumbs and simply massage the middle, center, bottom of your foot. Every point on the bottom of our foot, if you're familiar with reflexology, associates with a part of the body. So middle, center, bottom is heart, lung. Gently push in there. This works at a physical level, but it also works at an emotional level. Say you're filled with resentment and bitterness. You can dig it out a variety of ways. Extremely expensive psychotherapy, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or virtually for free, you can just pressure point the middle, center, bottom of your foot. Trust me, you guys. Good. Now, take the heels of your hands, your thenar eminence, into the, here's another pressure point, inner knee, and just wag your knees. Chances are, if you found me, because there's always a karmic connection between teacher and student, so you find your teacher through typically serendipity or synchronicity or meaningful coincidence, but you may not be able to do the full splits and your knees are way up. So if you just wag a little bit, you begin to bring some buoyancy, resiliency, and release to the groins. Maybe you can straighten your arms, but probably you can't. But if you can, boy, have you found the right teacher. Good. Now, bring your knees in together. Now, some of us are stuck here. The knees won't come all the way in together and your feet will start to slide forward and you'll start to lean back. That's okay. Bring your knees in together. Pull your heels in. And some people can pull their heels all the way into their bottom and some people can't. That covers everyone. I get choked up just thinking about it. Pull your heels as far as you can and then simply try to wrap your knees. And re-wrap. This is called wrapping, my version. And then hug tight. Now, what's the purpose of a pose like this? It's called compression. There's a name for it in yoga. There's a name for everything in yoga. This is called a kriya. A kriya means a particular system of movement, but it's called longana kriya. That means a system of movement that has to do with compression or getting small. This is an extremely vital principle. So I'm delivering a few underlying principles that will sink in as we get to know each other over the days, weeks, months, and years. Getting small returns our capacity to bend our joints, to compress, and to engage full range of motion. Just hold on for a moment, float your head up, relax your shoulders. Good. Now, one of my principles that I was taught by many great teachers, one in particular, is called pose, counterpose. So when you do a pose of a particular shape, we find the opposite movement. So what's the opposite of this compression? Well, it's getting large and expanding. So once again, plant your hands, feet on the floor, lift up your bottom. See, now we're counterposing. You may not be able to lift up very high. That's irrelevant. What is relevant is that you're doing the opposing movement. See, everybody can pose and counterpose. It doesn't matter the scale. It simply matters that you do it. Come on down. It's about time the world realized this about yoga, is that all you got to do is do what you can. You do the possible. God, source, love, being, infinite, higher organizing principle, or IHOP for short, will take care of the impossible for you. Okay, now from here, we're going to lie on our back one more time. I'm pretty sure you can lie on your back, right? And my head is lifted up. You may ultimately want this blanket behind your neck. Now, most of us aren't circus performers and we can't do the legs all the way out to the side. I can. My legs can go to a full 180, but for demonstration purposes and not to kill the clientele, which is an important principle in my teaching, I'm only going to go out to here, even though I could go much further. Do you believe me? Then circle your ankles around, rest your head back to relax your neck, and just stir organic almond butter with your toes. Other way, circulate your ankles. If your legs fatigue from being ripped out to the side, this is not unusual. So just put your feet back on the floor. Good. Now lift up your head, straighten your knees, and by lifting up our head and grabbing each other, I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, you're Kate Winslet, and it's the end of Titanic. We're crying hysterically, but try to grab me and pull me up. Bend your knees for relief. Squeeze your knees in together. Roll up or press up if you can. And you can. And back up. Good. Now we'll chant Om again. I frequently like to intersperse the chanting of Om because the chanting of Om has mystical, magical, metaphysical implications and repercussions that over time will revolutionize your whole experience of life. That's all. It'll just change everything for the better. You ready? We're going to do a big inhale, and as always, we're exercising our capacity to extend the exhalation, the duration of Om, and I'll explain the reason for that in a future class. This will keep you coming back. Big inhale. Feel that. Stop thinking. Lose your mind. Lose your marbles. Occasionally, when we study together, when two or more are gathered, we'll get these fantastic glimpses of consciousness in between the thoughts, the gaps in between the incessant caterwauling of our mind, the endless parade of thoughts. There'll be a merciful, blessed gap of quiet. This is the beginning of nirvana, satori, samadhi, ecstasy, bliss, ananda, the yogic word for joy. Good, you guys. Couple more things, and I don't want to keep you too long. I want you to do brief, targeted, surgical segments of yoga every single day, with me, of course. And you'll find over time these brief segments added together will lead to an incremental psychic awakening, spiritual awakening. It'll change you. And this is good because it's a deliberate change that will take you to a new way of experiencing reality. This is the great promise of yoga. Now, from here, stick your left leg out and put your right ankle over the top. If you can't do this, I'm probably not your teacher, but I think probably there's a segment of about 90% of people that can probably sit on the floor and put their right ankle over. Now, this left shin, if it folds in, this is a smaller segment of humans, but the good news is you don't have to be in that segment to get the benefit. If it folds under, it simply means you're more open in your hips. Can you be more open in your hips than this? You can go all the way off into infinity. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is you find what you can do. Now, can you take your 4 left fingers and grind them into your toes? A little bit of lubrication, WD-40 would be good. If you have to spread your toes open because they're a little bulky today, that's okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, good news in my class, you only have to be able to count to 8. In this case, just 4. Now, before we're done today, I'm going to help you balance the hemispheres of your brain, the left and right hemisphere. And we're going to do that via squeezing our right toes into our left fingers and splaying our left toes open. Now, if you think about this, the toes on this side are squeezing, the toes on this side are splaying. This represents the yin and the yang principle, the tight, firm squeezing and the open, relaxed, passive. If you close your eyes, squeeze and splay, this will create a nervous system balance within you. Squeeze and splay. Feel yourself as the center between squeezing on one side and splaying on the other. This will help you find the witness, the observer, the one who never squeezes, the one who never splays, the one who watches it. Good, now release out of that. Grab your hand out. The only contraindication of this pose is you may get a scorching case of athlete's hand from doing it. Now I'm going to teach you a pose named after yoga itself, and it's called Yogasana. Yoga, the name of yoga, asana, which is a suffix attached to the name that means a particular pose, posture, or position. This one's actually called Yogasana. It's such a propitious, beneficial pose that they named it after yoga itself. You put your right forearm on top of your left. You relax your hands into Palmar Reflection. You sit as tall as you can. Again, you could be sitting on a blanket, or you could just be sitting on your recliner eating popcorn. That is the scale of movement that I offer, but I hope you're doing something similar to this. Close your eyes. Now this pose enhances and amplifies the feeling of being grounded, rooted, stable, connected, attached. This taps into the yoga feeling, the yoga energy that draws us downward. It's the river of downward energy known as apana in Sanskrit. Once upon a time, you were doing Yogasana. Now inside of your head with your eyes closed, say the mantra, I am a calm and peaceful soul. This was taught to me by a great yoga master teaching woman named Prabha, and she wrote 30 books on interpretations of the Bhagavad Gita, and she taught me this mantra, I am a calm and peaceful soul. When I first started saying it, I was anything but having said it approximately 1 million times now, I'm somewhat more of a calm and peaceful soul. Good job. Relax your arms. They may have fatigued. You might actually fatigue when you do yoga because it's hard sometimes. Extend your legs out. Wiggle them a little bit. Take your left ankle over your right knee. Now you're looking at an upside down 4. So we have a reference point. Right shin may or may not fold in. It's okay if it doesn't. Wiggle your booty for 2 reasons. It helps to relax your hips, and wiggling your booty is fun. If there's an occasional outbreak of fun or mirthfulness or humor or lightheartedness in my class, it's working. One of the major problems with modern yoga is everybody takes it too damn seriously, and they look like they're stressed and strained. They look like they're constipated when they're doing yoga. So to relax and to smile, the brain follows the face. So it's okay for mirth to break out in my class. Now, grind your right fingers into your left toes, which if you're right-handed, will be oddly more difficult because your right fingers are larger than your left and your left toes are smaller than your right toes. Grind all the way in there. A little bit of avocado cooking spray in there helps them slide right in. Lubrication is a good thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the great aspects of yoga is just to simplify things down to simple movements. Squeeze your toes into your fingers. We're going to do this balancing of the hemispheres of our brain, the logic of the left brain, the intuitive holistic of the right brain. And we're going to marry those two sides together via our corpus callosum, the stalky cord cable that connects our brain like a serial cable. Squeeze, splay, squeeze, splay, sit tall, close your eyes, and feel yourself as the center of a merry-go-round. It squeezes, it splays. You are the unmoving center. Feel that. Lose your mind. No future, no past. Good. Open your eyes. Drag your hand out. Now, Yogasana. This is an asymmetrical set. So left forearm on top, just like your left shin. Your forearms are the shins of your upper body. Relax your hands. This is dorsiflexion. 737 winglets on the wing. Palmar flexion. Lift your shoulders. Beaver face. Relax your shoulders, soft face, level chin. On this side, put the tip of the tongue on the roof of your mouth. Don't ask why, just trust. And inside of your head, say to yourself, I am a calm and peaceful soul. And say it like you mean it, feel it like you say it, and sooner or later, over the fullness of time, we become who we say we are. We currently are who we've said we are for a very long time, and now we're learning to say who we want to become. Yoga is the great art of riding the boundary between who we are and who we're becoming. Lose your mind. Beautiful. Open your eye shades, relax your arms, untie your legs, wiggle them out. Now in a moment we're going to go into Shavasana, which is the corpse pose, 3, 4, 5 minutes on the back. And at this point, you can do that, and you can do it on your own and stay in the relaxation pose as long as you want. But the main thing is that acknowledge yourself for coming to class, doing some movement, having some fun, being vulnerable, engaging yourself at the level that you currently can, not comparing yourself to anyone else. One of the best lines I've ever heard in my life is, don't compare yourself to who other people are. Compare yourself to who you are today. That's a valid comparison. And as you begin to move up the yoga scale and do it every day, something wonderful will unfold inside of your experience. So now it's time to lay on our back. Put a blanket underneath your neck if you like. This is very much build to suit. You can put a bolster or a blanket underneath your knees. Lie on your back. Close your eyes. And I'm going to give you the yoga checklist of Bliss. Just like airline pilots before they take off, they go through a checklist that allows them to get off the ground safely. And I'm going to do the same for you. You're on your back. And Wiggle your legs. Widen your ankles out a couple of inches. This allows your bones to release. Lift up your left hip and your right hip. Wiggle your hindquarters, your undercarriage. Lift up your left shoulder blade and your right shoulder blade. Settle your arms. Today, try palms up or palms down. See which one you like the best. And go with the one you like the best. Doesn't that make sense? Swallow once, circle your jaw. Let your eyes roll back. Let the front of your brain sink to the back of your brain. Let your entire body melt into the floor. Do not oppose gravity. Capitulate, surrender to gravity. And as your physical body melts into the floor, a spiritual, essential, energetic body will expand. And you may even very much have the experience of expanding your body or even leaving your body. Not at all unusual. I'm going to chant Om as a finishing salutation. Then I'll conclude the class. There'll be another class tomorrow, and the number of available videos on YouTube will continue to expand. I'm exceedingly grateful for your presence today, and keep coming back. The most important words in yoga. Om.